open a segment to say goodbye. It is with a lot of mixed feelings that I tell you this is my last For the Record here at WISC TV. It's even harder to say that I'm leaving the Madison area, a city that has truly become home in so many ways for me and which I deeply love. The reason has to do with pushing forward with my career. I am joining the investigative team at the CBS affiliate in Charlotte, North Carolina. They're a group of people doing incredible work, and I'm incredibly excited to be a part of it. I don't know how to say goodbye myself, so I'm bringing back a person. He's had to do this before. You all know his face. Neil Heinen, former host of For the Record. Former host for 33 years. I can't hold a candle with my 3.
Yeah, well, it's a nice round number. 33 and 3, that's close enough.
There we go. Yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, you had a good run here.
Thank you.
And it's a great new market. Should be exciting.
I am very excited. They're doing phenomenal work. Yeah.
But you took good care of this program, so thank you.
I have strong words coming from you. No higher compliment could I get from the guy who ran. I mean, you were on this show for 33 years. So we were just talking about this.
Yep.
In preparation for this segment, I went back and tried to find when did this program first go on air? Because, I mean, it's been such a long time, and we can't figure it out.
Yeah.
You came on in 1989, is
89.
that correct?
I started here in 87, took over in 89. Prior to that, Naomi, I had been, sort of a regular panelist on the show when Ted O'Connell was the host. And I actually followed that format for quite a while. Originally, it was 2 or 3 reporters, a host, and then a guest, and that's kind of the way it went. I kind of transitioned it to more of a one-on-one, or me doing the interviewing. So I was on the show in the mid-'80s, or maybe even early '80s, but I don't know exactly when it started.
Yeah, and so I went back and watched your final segment, and you mentioned Ted O'Connell had done it for at least 5 years prior to 1989. So we know that this show has been on air now for just about 40 years.
Yep.
And we were talking about this. Only 3 permanent hosts
Isn't that amazing?
In that time, of which 2 are sitting here. Ted O'Connell, I believe, has passed away.
He did. Yep.
So the only 2 surviving hosts here. What's that like? That's an incredible legacy.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of fill-in hosts, as you know. I mean, you had them too. It's great. I mean, I think the consistency is important. I think you develop an ownership of the show and a real appreciation for the show. And we each bring a lot of our own ideas to what we think the content should be and how the show should operate.
Another question I wanted to ask you before we get there is, we're talking on Thursday morning.
Right.
3 massive news stories are breaking today.
Yep.
Abortion services are resuming in Wisconsin. That just broke literally 15 minutes before we came on air.
Yep.
And, the state's poised to fire its top election official. I got to ask you, as also the longtime editorial director, it was your job to go on air every night and give an opinion on the news.
Yep.
Do you ever find yourself on days like this just craving to get back on air and say, hey, here's what to think about it?
I very rarely crave to get back on air for a whole variety of reasons. I mean, retirement is great. I did that. There are aspects of the business that are so different from when I was in it, and that I wouldn't necessarily enjoy being in today. But by and large, Naomi, yes, I probably write an editorial every day. Whether it's when I'm walking the dog or, I mean, which is kind of typically what I did, for 30 plus years. Editorials would sort of formulate throughout the day, and then I would add things to them before I finally sat down and wrote them in the afternoon and stood in front of the camera at 3 o'clock. Yeah, those instincts never go away. But I still think that For the Record in particular, and shows like it, are so valuable in terms of community service, community affairs. It's our connection to people who really value having an opportunity to tell their story, to educate people about what's going on. And that's what I love so much about the show. I had, as you did, I mean, every governor, every UW president, senators on the show, but also people who would come on and just talk about community events and important issues. And in a lot of cases, we were really ahead of the game.
Absolutely.
I remember I was looking back at my notes, a show we did in 1989 on this new disease called AIDS, and we were just kind of wondering about this. And people really weren't sure what it was.
I cannot say how grateful I am to be given the chance to have taken care of this show for 3 years, nowhere near as long as your tenure, but being given that honor is incredible. I do want to mention, I don't have too much time left, but just talking about the future of the show. This is my last show. For the next couple months, we will have an interim host. That's going to be political reporter Will Keneally. He couldn't be with us today. He's at the Capitol covering all the craziness here on Thursday.
We should have passed the baton.
But again, we have a new news director. You saw him a few weeks ago on the show, and so he's looking at the show, evaluating what its future is going to be, and in the interim, Will Keneally is going to be taking care of it for us. Neil,
Good.
I can't thank you enough for coming on.
Well, thank you. Thanks for being part of the big trio of hosts of this show. You did great. Good luck in your new venture.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yep.
To Madison and our viewers across southern Wisconsin, I can't thank you enough for tuning in week after week. I have been so incredibly grateful, as I said, to be trusted with this incredible show. I trust you'll be in good hands going forward. So for one last time, thank you for tuning in. I'm Naomi Kowles. Enjoy your week.